Good evening everyone, it's dark, but it's time. Tonight we're going to play Lone Wolves book number 9, or if you prefer, book number 4 in the Magnakai series. Let's start with a story so far. You are the warrior Lone Wolf, last of the Kai Masters of Summerland, and sole survivor of the massacre that destroyed your kin during a bitter war with your age-old enemies, the Dark Lords of Helgedad. Many centuries have passed since Sun Eagle, the first of your kind, established the Order of the Kai. Aided by the magicians of the sea, he completed a perilous quest to find 7 crystals of power known as the Lore Stones of Nixator. Upon discovering them, he unlocked the wisdom and strength that lay within both the Lore Stones and himself. He recorded the nature of his discoveries and experiences in a great tome entitled The Book of the Magnakai. You have discovered his lost Kai treasure, and you have given a solemn pledge to restore the Order of the Kai to their former glory, thereby ensuring the security of your land in the years to come. However, your diligent study of this ancient book has enabled you to master only 3 of the 10 Magnakai disciplines. In order to fulfill your pledge, you must complete the quest first undertaken by Sun Eagle over 1,000 years ago and find the Lore Stones of Nixator. By doing so, you too will acquire the power and wisdom of the Magnakai, which is held within the Lore Stone's crystal forms. Already your quest has taken you far from your northern homeland. Following in the footsteps of the first Sky Master, you journeyed to this sea and sought the help of the Elder Magi, the magicians that aided Sun Eagle on his quest long ago. There you learned that one of the 7 Lore Stones was still present in their land, hidden deep inside an island stronghold known as Kazanhood, Castle Death. Survived the perils of Castle Death and emerged triumphant, having achieved what the Elder Magi had believed to be impossible. During the victory celebrations held in your honor, you learned that for centuries the Elder Magi had been expecting your coming. An ancient Deceit legend tells of the birth and rise to greatness of 2 Kurata-skai, which means sons of the sun. One was named Ikar, which means eagle, and the other was named Skarn, which means wolf. A prophecy foretold that the Kurata-skai will each come from the north to see the council of the Elder Magi in order that they might fulfill a great quest. Although separated by several centuries, they will share one spirit, one purpose, and one destiny, to triumph over the champions of darkness in an age of great peril. Your victory at Kazanhood proved that you were Skarn, the wolf of Desi legend, and in keeping with their ancient vows, the Elder Magi promised to help you complete the Magnakai quest. In Elgin, the capital of Desi, you were tutored in the histories of Magnamond and received lessons in lore that you would have learned from Kai Masters if only they had also survived the murderous Dark Lord attack on the Kai Monastery 11 years ago. You were eager to learn all that your tutor, Lord Rimoah, could teach you in preparation for the next stage of your quest, but grim news from the Darklands cut short your tutelage. In the Dark Lord city of Helgedad, a civil war had erupted, following your defeat of Hakon, Archlord of the Black City. After 5 years, the battle for the throne of Helgedad had finally been won by a Dark Lord called Yahag. The other Dark Lords, now united behind his new leader, were ordered to amass huge armies in preparation for the conquest of Magnamond. So swiftly did their Giak legions grow in numbers that the Elder Magi ceased their counseling and arranged for you to begin at once the search for the 3rd Lore Stone. Guided by Lord Pydo, a warrior magician of the sea, you set off on a perilous journey across the free lands of Telestria, on your way to the jungle swamps of the Danarg. There, in an ancient temple that was once the Elder Magi's most sacred place of worship, you succeeded in discovering the object of your quest. However, during your escape from the Danarg, your guide, Lord Pydo, was captured by Dark Lord agents, and upon your return to Elgin, you learned the fearful news that the Dark Lords were now waging open war throughout Magnamond. Several lands, after brief but futile resistance, had been overrun completely by Dark Lord armies. Others had surrendered without fighting in the face of their determined might. And sadly, there were others which chose to betray former friends and allies by joining the Dark Lord cause, in the misguided hope that they will share in the spoils of victory following the triumph of Dark Lord Nyahag. One such land was Vasagonia, a powerful desert empire to the north of the sea. Already Nyahag's armies had invaded the neighboring territories of Kajern and Cloasia, and were preparing to march through the Republic of Anari in order to join Nyahag's horde, now advancing across the great Slovarian plain. The thought of such an eventuality filled the elder magi with dread, for the lore stone you must find next lies deep below the streets of Tahu, the capital of Anari, in an ancient city built during the dawn of Magnamond. If Tahu were to fall before your arrival, the chances of completing your quest successfully will be slim indeed, even for a warrior of your renowned skill and daring. Whilst preparations were being made for your journey, you learned that the Dark Lords had attacked and captured Ruanon, the southernmost province of your homeland of Summerland. The news of this calamity shook your resolve and filled you with a desire to forego the journey to Tahu and return home without delay. The Elder Magi implored you not to abandon your quest, and you faced a difficult and crucial decision. Which should you honor? Your vow to complete the Magnakai quest, or your oath of loyalty to your king, an oath which pledged your service in the defense of the Sun Realm? Fortunately, the surprise arrival of an old friend was to decide the matter for you. Mage Master Banadon, envoy of the Brotherhood of the Crystal Star, the Magician's Guild of Summerland, landed unexpectedly at Elgin aboard his flying ship Skyrider. He and his dwarven crew were warmly greeted, for Banadon, a frequent and favored visitor to the sea, is highly respected by the Elder Magi for his mastery of new magic. 6 years had passed since last you met, and there was much you wished to discuss and reminisce about, but there was an urgent matter of duty to perform. Banadon had been sent by King Ulnar of Summerland to deliver into your hand a royal missive concerning your quest. The scroll, written and sealed by the king himself, ordered you to pursue the Magnakai quest above all other duties. It ended with the words, "Summerland has suffered a grievous defeat at Ruanon, but the will of the people is undaunted and the strength of our army undiminished. Boldly we will resist our enemies so long as there is hope for the rebirth of the Kai." Banadon informed you that the king had ordered that he and his skyship be placed under your command. He also delivered the news that the king had bestowed upon you the rank of War Marshal of the Royal Estates. Proudly you accepted from Banadon 2 platinum badges, each crafted in the shape of a blazing sun, and affixed them to the collar of your Kai tunic. This signified that you are now a general in the Sumlanding army, the youngest general there has ever been. The honor bestowed upon you lifted your spirits, and the news that Banadon will be joining your quest helped greatly to allay your fear of the dangers that lay ahead. For 2 years, Banadon lived in Tahu as journey master to his guild. His knowledge of the city and of the Tahu Cauldron, the entrance to the ancient metropolis which lies buried deep beneath the city streets, will be especially useful. On the eve of your journey to Tahu, the Elder Magi convened a meeting of the High Council. A golden torch was lit and placed in the center of their great cylindrical council chamber as a symbol of their hopes and prayers for your success. "This torch shall burn so long as you, Lone Wolf, pursue your destiny along the path of the Magnakai," said Lord Rimoah, speaker for the High Council. Before the gathering of elders, you reaffirm your vow to restore the Kai, and, as if kindled by a sudden gust of wind, the torch flared brightly, bathing the chamber in its vivid golden glow. As one, the elders rose from their seats and intoned their blessing. May the gods Ishir and Kai protect you on your journey into darkness, Kor-Skarn. Let's start this by adding a new Magnakai discipline. Last time we took Pathmanship, which was quite useful actually. The middle of the swamp. Now we're going into an ancient underground city or fortress. In order to complete the lore circle of Solaris, we need invisibility and hunt mastery. I'm not sure that hunt mastery will be useful there. I think invisibility would be better. Okay. Next, equipment. Your basic clothing comprises a green Kai tunic, a warm green weatherproof cloak, breeches, and leather boots. Before leaving Desi on your journey to the city of Tau, the Elder Magi give you a map of the Republic of Fanari and its surrounding lands, and a pouch of gold. To find out how much gold. We have space for this. I think it was 5 gold per crown. That's the case. Because 60 doesn't divide by 25. Yeah, it must have been 12. Yeah, I think we had 38 gold crowns before. That means whatever we roll, we can go up to 38 gold crowns. And I'm wondering if those loon serve on the road. They don't talk about loon. Let's stay like this and we'll see in this adventure and remove the loon. They serve nothing for the next book. The Elder Magi offer you a choice of equipment to aid you on your perilous mission. You may take your pick of the following items. 2 weapons, we already have those. The 12 special items, we don't need the pass and the scroll. I think we can delete both of them. That's 11 items. Sword, bow, dagger, mace, potion of Flumspur. Time it was quite useful. 3 meals, the rope, we already have one, a quiver. Intoned, we don't need one. 3 fire seeds in our pouch, but I don't have curing. So it will be a potion of Lumspur, 3 meals, no options for a leather waistcoat. And the bag will be full with this. However, we can bring one more item. I think I'll take the quiver, drop it, and take the 6 arrows. Didn't use the crystal tar pendant, less adventure, but we'll see today how it goes. For the stats, we have +2 for Mind Blast, +8 Summer Sword, that's 10. +1 for the Brannin Sleeve Shield, and 3 for the Circle of the Spirit for +14 combat skill. Endurance points. We start with 29 +4 waistcoat, -3 for the Dagger of Vashna, +2 helmet, +2 power key, +1 Brennan shield, and +3 Circle of the Spirit for 38. We're all set. Levels of Magnakai training, we're now Principalin. The rules are the same as before. D10 for most rolls. If we die, we're going to go back to our previous choice, take a different choice. If we die in battle, we're going to take the free option if there's one. If there's none, we're going to go back, take a previous choice, and etc. and etc. So that we're not playing this game tomorrow morning. But so far, let's touch wood. We died once in 3 books. And it was because we used the potion of Lumspur like 3 sections before having a need for it to give to Lord Bido. 4 circles of the Magnakai, only the Circle of the Spirit is completed. 1 discipline is missing for the Circle of Solaris. I didn't know that when we were Primate 2 books ago, we had a better Psy Surge. It says that primates with the Magnakai discipline of Psy Surge will, by concentrating their psychic powers upon an object, be able to set up vibrations that may lead to the disruption or destruction of the object. And those that have Nexus, primates with the skill of Nexus will be able to offer a far greater resistance than before to the effects of noxious gases and fumes. When we reach the level of Tutelary, with Patsmanship, Tutelaries with this skill can detect an enemy ambush within 500 yards of their position, unless their endurance score is low due to wounds sustained or lack of food. Psy Screen, Tutelaries with this skill develop mental defenses against magical charms and hostile telepathy. These defenses increase in strength as a Kai Master rises in rank. In Divination, Tutelaries who possess this Magnakai discipline are able to recognize objects or creatures with magical skills or abilities, although they may not be able to if the creature or object is shielded from detection. And on top of that, when we reach Principalin, as we are right now, for invisibility, Principalins are able to mask any sounds made by their movements while using this skill. Psy-Surge, Principalins using this skill in combat are able to confuse an enemy by planting seeds of doubt in its mind. The effectiveness of this ability increases as the Sky Master rises in rank. And for Nexus, Principalins with this ability can extinguish fires by force of will alone. The size of the fire and the number that can be extinguished using Nexus increases as the Sky Master rises in rank. So before we begin, some Magnakai Wisdom. Your search for the Lord Stone of Ta'u will be fraught with danger. The Dark Lords have launched a massive invasion into the free lands of northern Magnamond in a bid to take over the continent and thwart your Magnakai quest. Make notes as you progress through the story. They will be of great help in this and future adventures. Many things that you find will help you during your adventure. Some special items will be of use in future Lone Wolf adventures, and others may be red herrings of no real use at all. So try to be selective in what you decide to keep. Choose your 3 Magnakai disciplines with care, for a wise choice enables any player to complete a quest, no matter how weak his initial combat skill and endurance point scores. Successful completion of previous Lone Wolf adventures, although an advantage, is not an essential prerequisite for the completion of this Magnakai adventure. The future of Magnamon now hinges on the success of your quest. May the gods Kai and Ishir guide you swiftly and surely along the path of the Magnakai. For Summerlon in the Kai. Section 1, book number 4 of the Magnakai series, the Cauldron of Fear. A full moon lights the sky above Elchen on the evening that you begin your journey to Ta'u. Its ashen rays glimmer along the polished wooden outriggers that run the length of the hull of the Sky Rider and illuminate the crystal star ensign and the Some Landing flag as they flutter proudly from the mizzenmast. The elders of the High Council have gathered on the roof of their council chamber, and as you and Banadon climb the boarding ladder to the sky ship, you pause to return their farewell salute. Bozun Nolrim, senior member of Banadon's crew of dwarves, welcomes you and his captain aboard. Surveying the craft, you notice that the Sky Rider has changed very little since you were last aboard her, when you sailed the desert skies of Vazagonia in search of the Book of the Magnakai. The crew remember that voyage fondly and are justly proud of the part that they played in the success of that perilous mission. Take the helm, Bozun, and set a course for Navazari, commands Banadon, as he leads you across the buzzy deck to his cabin at the prow. Swiftly the lights of Elgin vanish as the Sky Rider speeds away into the night. A mile below, the jungle of the sea and the barren peaks of the Zulun Mountains race past beneath the skyship's keel, but in the comforting warmth of Banadon's cabin, you feel no sensation of movement. Only the hum of the powerful engine indicates how rapidly you are traveling. Over a delicious meal of salted beef and spiced fruits, Banadon explains the purpose of your journey to Navazari, a city located over 100 miles south of Ta'u. Our enemies are advancing across Magnamon, like a tidal wave, destroying or carrying with them all in their path, says the young magician, as he points to a map of the continent adorning the cabin wall. Every day a new battle is being fought. and every day we lose another town or village to the Dark Lords. Before we venture into Tau, we must be sure that the city has not already fallen to Dark Lord Nahag, lest we fly straight into a trap. I have many friends in Navazari. Reliable friends. Friends who are highly placed in the Senate of Anari. From them we will learn if the city still stands, and if it does, how long we can expect it to resist the Dark Lord assault. Mid-morning of the following day, the lookout catches a glimpse of Navazari as the Sky Rider emerges from the Yajo Pass. Banadon takes control of the helm and steers the craft toward the east quarter of the city, landing it on the spacious roof of a magnificent, star-shaped building that overlooks the River Cha. A group of dignitaries, resplendent in high-necked robes of green and yellow silk, greet your arrival. These are some of the friends of whom Banadon spoke. Sadly, they recount a grim course of events that have recently befallen their country. In the far north, the town of Reza was destroyed and its people massacred by an army of Giaks. 2 days later, a similar attack was launched by a Vasagonian army against the town of Zila. They swept along the Anari Pass, burning and looting every village through which they rode and giving no quarter to those who dared resist them. 3 days ago, on the western border, a fierce battle was fought at the Slovian town of Lovka for control of the bridge across the river Churdes. Shortly before midnight, the might of Dark Lord Nyahag's Drakarim horde fell upon the beleaguered garrison. They fought bravely, but by the dawn of the following day, all that remained of the town and its defenders were an acre of scorched earth and a wagon load of charred bones. The 3 enemy armies are now advancing toward Tau. President Toltuda, the head of state, has ordered the evacuation of all women and children from the capital, and has begun strengthening the city's defenses to increase its chances of withstanding the impending siege. When Banadon speaks of your intention to go to Tau, one of his friends offers a few words of caution. It will be unwise to attempt a landing at the capital, he warns. Heavy bolt throwers have been positioned on every rooftop and tower in case the city is attacked from the air. The Dark Lords captured Swentina in such a fashion, and the Taues have learned from their neighbors' misfortune. Skyships rarely visit Tau, which makes it all the more likely that your craft will be mistaken for a hostile attacker. After long deliberation, you and Banadon decide to leave the Sky Rider in Navazari and journey to Tau by horse. Nolrim is left in charge of the craft and crew with instructions to wait here for your return. If Tau is besieged and he has not received word from you after 2 weeks, he is to return to Desi and report that your quest has failed. Early next morning, you and Banadon climb into the saddles of 2 white Anarian steeds provided by his friends and set off on your 2-day ride to Tau. Less than an hour after leaving Navazari, you see a long line of wagon approaching. They are escorted by a troop of cavalry, and each one is crowded with women and children. 2 options. We can stop and question these people, or ride past and press on with the urgent journey. Maybe we should start by asking questions, get fresher news of what's going on in Tau. The officer in charge of the mounted escort rides forward to meet you. He wears silver Anarian chainmail and a wing helmet embossed with the crest of Tau. "Hail, Captain," says Banadon, upon seeing his crown-shaped badge of rank. Man narrows his eyes and regards you both with suspicion. He is about to reach for his sword when a woman shouts from the leading wagon. "Banadon! Banadon! Is that you?" Your companion recognizes the woman and returns her friendly wave. "Lorta, by the stars, I had not expected to meet you here," he says in a surprised tone. The captain relaxes his guard and motions to the wagons to move on, anxious that his entourage be not delayed any longer on the highway. "You can fall in with us or save your reunion till we reach Navazari," he says curtly and rides on without waiting for a reply. Lorta is the wife of Chiban, a famous Taoist magician, who was my mentor when I lived and studied in the city, says Banadon. Two options again. We can suggest that Banadon should talk to this woman, or insist that you should both continue your journey without delay. I know it's pressing matters, but we won't be long and get some useful informations. As long as there aren't any monks in that wagon, we're fine. Banadon rides alongside the crowded wagon and talks with Lorta as the procession continues on its way to Navazari. After a few minutes of conversation, she hands him a scrap of parchment and they bid each other farewell. "They're the last of the evacuees," he says as you continue your ride north. "They expect the enemy to reach Tau in 2 days' time. They've already seen Giak scouts, and early this morning a squadron of Kor-Skarn were sighted high in the western skies. She advises us to steer clear of a village called Sidara. It's rumored to have already fallen to the enemy. She also gave me this." Banadon hands you the scrap of parchment. It contains a few lines of Anarian script, an address and a signature. You are unable to decipher the note because the Anarian language diverged so long ago from Vesagonian. It's an invitation to stay at Chiban and Lorta's house in Tau. It may prove useful when we reach the city gate. Mark this invitation on your action chart as a special item you keep in your pocket. And oh, we need to discard one, so it counts. In the limit of 12. And we can continue our journey. For 3 hours you ride without rest along the Tau Highway. On either side, the tall whispering grasses of the Anari Plains steer lazily in the thin breeze of morning. Villages are few, but wherever there are trees, you are sure to find a group of huts nearby. The highway descends along a ridge toward a copse of stunted trees. Here, a circle of simple dwellings have been built around a well. At your approach, a bell is sounded and several peasants appear. Each of them is holding a basket of assorted wares, which they urge you to buy. Could buy stuff, but our backpack is full. I guess it's not really a problem just to take a look. The villagers swarm around you like hungry locusts, pleading with you to buy their humble goods. Most of the baskets contain food with a greasy off-putting smell or small earthenware flask full of boza, a pale yellow wine with a bouquet not unlike that of sour milk. Those villagers were too poor to offer any goods at all, simply cup their hands and beg for money. For every 1 gold crown you spend here, you can purchase 1 meal or 1 flask of boza. And we can give money to the beggar or continue our journey. Never trust beggars. We have a lot of loot. We can trade 1 meal for a flask of boza. Just to see if it ends up being useful later on. For the beggars, deduct from your merchant chart however many gold crowns or loon you wish to give to the poor villagers. You can give them, oh, so it's 3 gold crown for 12 loon. That means that we had 15 loon and 35 gold was accurate then. Okay. Can give them 3 gold crowns or more or less. Go for more. We're going to give a ton. So the minimum requested. 12 loon. The wretched beggars are overjoyed at your generosity, and their grimy faces beam with delight as quickly they share out your coins. An old crone tugs at your sleeve and points with a crooked finger toward a small wooden hut set apart from the rest. She says it is the home of their shaman, the village holy man. She offers to take you to him to receive a blessing. Sure, can decline or go. Well, why not? With a bony fist, she raps loudly on the door of the hut. Inside, a croaky voice bids you enter. She tugs at your sleeve impatiently, urging you into the foul-smelling oval. Seated on a threadbare carpet and surrounded by what appear to be heaps of chicken bones is a scrawny old man dressed completely in feathers. He has a long, pointed nose and a stubby grey beard which grows to just below his beady, bloodshot eyes. The crone kneels and whispers in his ear, before bowing respectfully and leaving the hut. As the door swings shut, the shaman scoops up a handful of bones, closes his eyes, and with a sound like a flock of startled seagulls, casts them in the air. After a full minute of chanting and waving his hands, the old man opens his eyes and looks down on the bones which lie scattered on the beaten earth floor. "You have many enemies, Northlander," he says, his hook-like fingers tracing patterns around the bones. "Powerful enemies. They plot to prevent you from walking your chosen path.
Yours is a path that will bring about their destruction. There is one who will tell you that he is a friend. You must not trust this one. There is treachery in his heart.
The old man closes his eyes and lowers his head, as if he has fallen suddenly into a deep trance. You try to awaken him, but he does not respond, and eventually you decide to take your leave. You feel unsettled by the encounter, but when you return to Banadon, you make light of the incident and suggest that you should continue without further delay. Well, I hope that the treacherous friend will be someone else than Banadon. Most probably, but... As the hour of noon approaches, the rutted highway of khaki-colored earth rises gently toward a flat-topped house near the horizon. Outside, next to the entrance, there is a three-legged stand erected over a fire made of Gorka's dung. A battered tin pot full of soup hangs from the crotch of the stand, and several farmhands stand in line waiting for the muddy-colored liquid to boil. The smell of the fire is awful, and it has to be blown on ceaselessly to prevent it from going out. Close to the house is a dirt track that branches off from the main highway and disappears away to the west. The signpost, its wood cracked and twisted, points along the track. It reads, Tau, 95 miles. If you have the Magnakai discipline of batsmanship, you do. Immediately, you sense that the signpost is pointing in the wrong direction. Tau lies to the north, yet the signpost is pointing toward the river Churdes to the west. We can ignore the signpost and continue along the highway, or question the farm hands. Not sure it's worth it questioning them. I think we should simply ignore the signpost and trust our Magnakai senses. Let's take the time to look at the map. We're already on the road. We've started here from Navazari and are en route to Tau North. It's really a short way there. And right now we must be up there, I guess. Here's the Yajo Pass. We came from up here. And Zila. Supposed to be a bad call. Sidara. Sidara anywhere. I think it's more west. Northwest. Five miles along the highway, you reach another junction where a cart track bears off to the west. A whitewashed stone marker by the side of the road says, Sidara, 5 miles. Ah, there we go. 95 miles, about 100 here. Yeah, we're pretty much at 95 miles. And Sidara under the token here. The small town, not on the map. If you choose to follow the cart track to Sidara, nope, They told us to stay away from there. The afternoon passes swiftly as you ride across seemingly endless miles of treeless grassland. You stumble upon no village or hamlet and spend the hours listening to Banadon's account of recent events in Summerland and the Last Lands. 3 years have passed since you were last in the land of your birth, and you are hungry to hear all that has transpired since then. It is an hour past sunset and night is drawing its black cloak around you when you see a flickering red light on the road ahead. It is the village of Chadi. Not on the map either. A great fire roars in the heart of Guyuk's tavern in Chadi, inviting the travel sore to stop and warm their weary bones. You decide to stay overnight, and as soon as you have stabled your horses, you enter the tavern to ask the price of a room. The tap room is surprisingly quiet. It is full of villagers and farmers, but they are a sullen crowd, content to sit in silence and brood over their glasses of Lovka, the strong Slovian rye spirit named after the town where it was first distilled. Guyuk, the tavern owner, greets you with a nervous nod of his shiny bald head. Courteously, he shows you to a table. There are no bars or counters in Anarian taverns. Instead, the customers sit at long banqueting tables and wait for the owner and his staff to serve them. He gives you an uneasy smile when he answers your inquiry about a room.
A single room with a bed. That will be 12 lune each.
You have enough money to pay for a room. 12 lune equal 3 gold crowns. You can do so. Or we can not pay for a room. I don't see why not. 12 lune. Guyuk gives you each a key to your room and offers you both a glass of Lovka on the house. Gratefully you accept, and down the warming liquor in one gulp. You notice that at the far end of your table a man sits with his 2 young sons. They appear to be gambling with a group of plains farmers seated opposite, although you can see no money changing hands. You can move along the table and sit next to them, or engage Guyuk in conversation, but Guyuk didn't seem like really the talkative guy. Or we can simply order some food. Oh, I'm all in for gambling a bunch of loon. Oh, whatever they gamble. The father and the farmers are taking it in turns to ask each other riddles. Ah, damn riddles. In Anari it is forbidden to gamble for money on games of chance, but the wily Anarians get around the law by devious means. They gamble on being able to answer riddles correctly, which demands exercising some degree of skill rather than relying purely on chance. They wager goods and sometimes their services in place of money. By the time you join them, the father and his sons have amassed quite an assortment of valuable items. Judging by their expressions, the plains farmers are anxious to win back some of their lost possessions. You can join them and take in an Anarian gamble, or not take part in their game and simply, talk to Guyuk instead. Or order a meal, well, all the other options. But we're here to gamble stuff and they have valuable items. I'm all for it. I can offer meals. It is the father's turn to ask a riddle, but firstly you must decide on your stake. You can choose to gamble either 1 special item or 3 backpack items. If you should fail to answer the riddle correctly, you will forfeit the item or items you have selected. If you answer the riddle correctly, you will win the chance to pick any 2 items from the Father's hoard of valuables, which we don't know what it is yet. A hush descends as patiently you await the riddle. The Father, whose name is Khmar, draws his dagger from its scabbard and lays it on the table. Then he rests his hand on the shoulder of his eldest son and says, or him saying something, we need to gamble stuff. Pretty much need everything that we have in the special items. Maybe the blue here. For the backpack items, we can wager a flask of boza and 2 meals. I think it's better that way. Alright, so the riddle is thus. This dagger is now half as old as my son Lowen was when the dagger was new. Lowen is now 15 years old. How old is the dagger? Okay, the dagger is now half as old as Lowen when the dagger was new. Lowen is now 15. Let's say that the dagger is 5 years old when it was new. Lowen was 10, which is half. I think it's 5. You have answered the riddle correctly. This is the correct answer to Khmar's dagger riddle. Khmar displays this collection of valuables from which you may choose your winnings. You may take any 2 of these articles. They're all backpack items. A silver bowl, a vial of gold dust, an altar cloth, and a scroll of honor. Wow. No idea what any of this will do. And we need to trash stuff in exchange. Scroll of Honor is intriguing. The vial of gold dust might be useful to buy people. Not sure about the rest. Maybe the altar cloth, since it's kind of unusual. Oh, it's 2 articles. Oh, okay, sorry. If you already carry the maximum number of backpack items permitted, you may discard 2 of them, yeah, in favor of your price. Okay. Well, not the altar cloth then. Since you have displayed your intelligence so effectively, understandably, the plains farmers are now a little reluctant to continue gambling. Kamar and his sons gather up their winnings and bid you good night, and the farmers quickly follow suit. You can talk to Guyuk or order a meal. Guyuk is so not talkative. But well, let's take all our options just in case, since we're not pressed by the time right now. Guyuk is a nervous and jittery sort of man. He is afflicted with all manner of tics and twitches, and is given to worrying about anything and everything. Recently his condition has worsened. In light of the events in the north, it is not difficult to understand why. Oh, what's to become of us? Where will it all end? He mutters, wringing his pudgy hands and casting his eyes to the rafters. Every day for the last 2 weeks, wagons filled with women and children have been leaving Tau for the south. Yet the Senate tells us that nothing is wrong, that we should go about our business and not concern ourselves with seedy affairs. Well, I for one am not fooled. I tell you, they're keeping us in the dark about what's really happening, and I'm not going to wait around to suffer the consequences. I'm closing up and moving out at the end of the week. And if you two gentlemen will take some friendly advice, you'd be wise to do the same. Someone in the tavern is calling for more Lovka. Before you can question Guyuk further, he snatches up a bottle and scurries away to serve his demanding customer. Well, let's order food then, because otherwise we'll need to eat a meal anyway. A servant girl ushers you in an adjoining room, where smoke from an open charcoal fire spirals up to the roof and fills the air with its pungent aroma. You seat yourselves at a round oak table, and the girl brings 2 plates loaded with broiled gorka steak and roasted parsnips. 2 tankards of ale serve to wash down the feast with which Banadon, in a generous mood, pays for with 12 silver lune. Having satisfied your hunger and revived your strength, you may restore any endurance points lost on your adventure so far. You bid Banadon good night and retire to your room. The room overlooks the courtyard and stables. It is small yet surprisingly clean and comfortable. You sleep well, but you are rudely awoken at dawn by the clang of a brass bell. Guyuk's wife is walking around the courtyard, ringing it for all she's worth. "Daybreak! Daybreak! All awake! All awake!" she cries, her voice only slightly less piercing than her bell. Quickly you wash and dress before gathering together your equipment and eating for the stables. Banadon is already there, having risen before dawn to prepare the horses. The sky is cloudless and the air is warm and still as you ride out of Chetty. Open grasslands stretch before you, broken occasionally by whitewashed farm buildings and peasant dwellings. It is noon when you arrive at a forest of standing stones that border the highway approaches to the village of Fear. Banadon recalls a local legend that the Black Zaken of Vasagonia once came to wage war on the defenseless inhabitants of Fear, who had no army. The besieged people offered up prayers to the goddess Ishir, who was sufficiently moved by their plight to cause the wicked Vasagonians to become petrified right where they stood, clad in full armor and clasping their weapons. It strikes you that the fiends may very soon have cause to pray for Ishir's help a second time. A mile beyond the village, you see a cloud of dust on the highway ahead. If you have the Magnakai discipline of Hunt Mastery, damn. Those were the two choices at the beginning. Ugh. And have reached the rank of Principalin. Well, we don't have on Mastery, so the other option it is. The dust cloud grows bigger and the rumble of hoof beats can now be heard drifting toward you across the open plain. 20 lightly armored riders approach, their lances bearing blue pennants embroidered with the arms of Tau. Their faces are stern and unsmiling beneath the peaks of their wing helmets. Their sergeant makes a signal, and the horsemen change formation. They draw up into a circle that quickly closes around you. "State your business here," bellows the sergeant. "Why do you ride to Tahu?" At first you're suspicious of their identities, until your basic Kai sixth sense confirms that these men are genuine Anarian Rangers. Bunch of options. We can tell the sergeant your real reason for riding to Tahu. We can show the invitation. Or demand to know by what authority they hinder your passage to the capital. I think the invitation might be a good call. The burly sergeant snatches the parchment from your hand and studies it carefully. Without raising his head, he asks how two Northlanders came to possess a personal invitation to one of Tau's most respected households. When Banadon explains your meeting with Lorta, and how he was once a student of Chiban, her husband, the sergeant somewhat reluctantly accepts your story and returns the invitation. "Stay on the highway and make sure you reach Tau by sunset," he says as he signals to his troop to let you pass. "Enemy scouts have been sighted in the hills south of the capital. If you're not inside the city walls by nightfall..." He draws his finger quickly across his throat. You thank him for his advice and watch as he and his troop wheel away and ride south. You pocket the invitation and glance apprehensively at Banadon before pressing on with your own journey north. It is late afternoon when you see the Tau Hills. They appear like a mirage on the horizon, shimmering beyond the haze which rises from the sun-baked plain. Without stopping for food or rest, you hurry across the hot grasslands and follow the highway as it ascends toward the mouth of a hill pass. A stone watchtower guards the entrance to the hills, and a cluster of whitewashed huts lie huddled around its base. If you have the Magnakai discipline of pathmanship and have reached the Magnakai rank of tutelary or higher, we do. Your senses tingle with the premonition of danger. You are sure that the watchtower and huts conceal an enemy lying in ambush. You tell Banadon your fears and he looks ahead, his keen eyes narrowing. The pass is dark within the gathering dusk, and he does not detect anything unusual about the settlement, except that it appears deserted. If we avoid the pass, we'll have to make a wide detour and rejoin the highway at a place deeper in the hills, he says, scanning the shadowy islands. Even if we don't get lost, we'll be lucky to reach Tau before nightfall. So two options here. You can avoid the settlement and make a wide detour, but be late at the closing gate. And it's supposedly really dangerous. Or we ride on despite the risk of an ambush, which is going to occur. So our two options are being ambushed by maybe one guy, or take a risk and fight the whole cohort of Vesagonian soldiers or Dracarans. Sadly, I think that the ambush is safer. You enter the pass side by side and gallop your white and Aryan steeds along the rubbish-strewn road that winds its way through the deserted settlement. As you pass the watchtower, a chilling howl arises from the shadows behind the huts. Then, like demons from a nightmare, a host of snarling Geacs burst into view. They ride out from their hiding places astride giant doom wolves. Swiftly they draw alongside, shrieking and thrusting their spears at the darkening sky. Pick a number from the random number table. I hate it when it does that though. 8. The number, if it is 5 or higher. The highway twists like a restless snake as you gallop headlong through the darkening Tau Hills. The unholy baying of the Doom Wolves draws steadily closer as you fight desperately to keep your tired horses ahead of the ravening pack. 3 miles from the Watchtower settlement, the fastest pack members draw level with you as you race along a dry, grass-tufted water course. Their eyes and fangs glint heavily in the moonlight as they swerve and cut across your path, forcing you to stand and fight them. The Doom Wolves howl and their Geac riders cackle with glee as they hurl themselves upon you. You lash out at a grey-skinned rider, cleaving his grinning head in two, and then you swing your arm back and dispatch a Doom Wolf as it comes leaping toward your face. All around you the snarl and screech and press of bodies threaten to overwhelm your senses, but you are a Kai master. In the heat of battle your nerve is ice cool. Grimly you fight with a speed and skill that leaves a dozen dead in as many blows. Yet you do not fight alone. Banadon rears into view, flashes of flame spurting from his fingers with a crack, like a whip that echoes above the din of combat. Then another wave of wolf riders appears. They charge into the fray, driving a wedge between you and your companion. A black sword cuts the air less than an inch from your skull, but you deal its wielder a fatal blow before it can strike a second time. The rider falls, yet as it does so, its Doom Wolf mount leaps up and clings to your horse. Its claws are buried in the saddle leather, and its foaming jaws are snapping at your throat. You must dispatch this beast quickly before it drags you both to the ground. First fight of the night. A Doom Wolf, combat skill 18. So it's plus 12 combat ratio. And endurance 26. Quite an easy fight. If you have the Magnakai discipline of animal control, no. We need to win the fight in 3 rounds or less. Should be fine. with a plus 12 combat ratio. Pretty much any roll is good. We really won't reach 3 there. Let's start by rolling 2 dice. Seven and 8. Little happy battle music. Seven and 8. That's 18 and instead it. And we lost nothing. The dead doom wolf drops heavily to the ground and your horse rears up on its hind legs. It churns the air with its four hooves and they strike like steel hammers among the remaining wolf riders. More than one of them ends its days with your horse's hoofprints stamped into its shattered skull. A gap appears and you see Banadon gallop past, his loose robe streaming out behind him like a pair of blue wings. You dig in your heel and urge your brave horse after him, fleeing the battleground as yet more of the wolf riders loom into view. The wolf riders give chase, but their pursuit is half-hearted, and you have covered less than a mile when you hear the Geax call of their hunt. They console themselves by hurling threats and vile curses at your backs as you disappear swiftly into the dusk. The highway emerges from the hills at a village called Varta, situated on the edge of the Tau Flats. The flats consist of fields of cultivated crops. They form a fertile market garden 2 miles wide, which is farmed right up to the banks of the great moat that encircles the capital. Varta is deserted. Its male inhabitants now shelter within the city walls, whilst the women and children have long since traveled south to the safety of Navazari. As you leave the empty town and descend onto the flats, you catch your first awe-inspiring glimpse of the ancient city. And we're at Tau. Pretty much the rest of the adventure should go down here. Tau, an ancient stronghold containing a vast city, is a formidable and wondrous sight in the moonlight. Bathed by ashen rays, the imposing walls and towers of redstone and grey rock assume the softened sheen of velvet. The city is often referred to as the Velvet Fortress for this reason. Beyond its towers and high curtain wall, you can see 1,000 spires and minarets. They are grouped as thickly as the trees of a forest. Tiny lights twinkle in countless windows and portals, adding to the fairy tale splendor of the mighty capital. Near to the city's south gate, the highway is flanked by beacons which illuminate those who approach the gatehouse. A drawbridge spans a moat of black water, and as you ride across, a brass bell tolls from the portculized archway ahead. 2 civilian riders at the south gate, yells a soldierly voice. Raise the postern, shouts another. There is a clatter of chains and a scraping of stone. You watch the portcullis, expecting it to rise, but it does not move. Instead, a narrow portal opens at the base of the wall, and an armored guard steps out from the shadows. He motions you to enter, and you follow Banadon along a corridor of stone which leads to a secure enclosure. You glance upward to see the faces of a dozen soldiers, peering down at you from behind a parapet that encircles the high enclosure walls. All of them are armed with loaded crossbows, which they train on your every move. A small gate creaks open and two guards appear. They are armed with short-hafted, broad-bladed spears. "Who are you?" one demands in a gruff tone. "Why do you seek late entry to Tahu?" Can show the invitation, or tell the guards that we have come to defend the city, or simply tell them that we want to enter the Tahu Cauldron. Yeah, well, the invitation is quite useful with that. The guards inspect the invitation, and their expressions convey their doubt that the signature it bears is genuine. They order you to dismount, and one of them hurries off to summon the gatehouse commander. Fortunately, when he arrives, he recognizes Lord Asmark and allows you to leave the enclosure, although he impounds both your horses. You protest and demand that they be returned, but to no avail. "Orders of the Senate," says the commander offendedly. "An emergency decree. All horses belonging to the civil population must be delivered into the care of the garrison stables until the state of emergency is lifted." Reluctantly, you allow the guards to take your steeds, and as they are being led away, the commander hands you each a piece of vellum, stamped with a date and a number. "Receipts," he explains, his tone noticeably more friendly. You pocket your receipt. Owing to its size, you need not delete another special item should you already carry the maximum quota and you are about to walk away when he calls out, "Report to the Citadel first thing in the morning. You'll be allocated your battle stations in readiness for when the enemy attack." Okay, we're being recruited against our goodwill. I wonder if we're really going to get back our horses at the end of this. I really doubt so. Leaving your horses behind at the South Gate Tower, you enter a wide avenue flanked by workshops and houses. They are built either of redstone or constructed of rock which has been rendered with red plaster. The buildings themselves are small and densely packed, yet each one, no matter how humble, has a spire or tower that soars into the sky. The large sleepy-eyed heads of stone dragons gaze down from the balconies of minarets, crowned either with bulbous onion-shaped domes of copper or with platforms housing engines of war recently installed. Banadon points to an eating house and suggests that you stop here for some refreshment. Chiben's house is more than an hour's walk away, and you are ravenous after your long ride. "Ah, yes, sure, Banadon." The eating house is crowded with soldiers. They sit at benches drawn up to long oak tables or sprawl around a log fire that crackles in a broad stone grate. Your entrance causes them to pause in their noisy conversations as they turn their heads to look you up and down. Their curiosity is soon satisfied, and quickly they return to their feasting and boasting. "This way, gentlemen," beckons the owner, and he leads you through the crowd to a table set in the corner of the high-selling room. Banadon hands him a clutch of silver loon, and the jolly red-cheeked man waddles away to fetch you food and ale. The soldiers are dressed in a variety of uniforms, many of which you recognize to be the tunics of mercenary regiments from the Stormlands. 2 of these soldiers of fortune share your table. They talk in hushed tones and cast nervous glances at another group of men sitting near to the fire. 2 options. We can choose to talk to the soldiers, or say nothing while waiting for the food. Well, talking sounds always like a good idea. The men are plainly displeased that you have interrupted their okay. One of them, a jaundiced knave with dark eyes and curly black hair, snatches a jug from the table and takes a long swig. He slams it down and turns to his friend. "Did you know," he says, red wine squirting through his rotted teeth, "my brother Gain was killed in Raggadorn last year? He was stabbed in the black by a Lucy Northlander." Slowly he turns his head and stares coldly into your eyes. "I hate Northlanders," snarls. "They're all cowardly backstabbing scum." You notice his hand leave the jug and slip below the table. 3 options. We can simply tell him that we are sorry to hear what happened to his brother, prepare for combat, or simply leave the eating house. Let's go with the sorry and be the gentleman here. "Save your sympathy," he sneers, "because you're about to meet him face to face." Suddenly he lunges forward, a curved dagger gleaming in his hand. He flicks his wrist and the razor-sharp blade whips in an arc toward your throat. If you have the Magnakai discipline of Unmastery, nope. Damn, it's hurting so much, the Unmastery. Pick a random number table. On the random number table. Alright. If it is 4 or higher, okay. 7, good enough. We're just trying to be helpful. In a split second, you counter his attack with a savage swipe that cripples his arm at the elbow. His dagger falls to the table and the soldier falls screaming to the floor. His comrade kicks back his bench and steps away as he fumbles for his sword. With a drunken yell, he unsheathes the heavy blade and leaps forward in a reckless attack. Wow, most probably the hardest fight of the night. A drunken mercenary, combat skill 15, he's better than a Geek. Rather than a Doom Wolf, yeah, it was the Doom Wolf last time. But that's a combat ratio, no, it's not better actually. Plus 15, yeah, well, he sucks. And endurance 26. I'm not sure we'll live really long. Or longer than the wolf. Yay. We can evade combat. In other words, we can keep him alive. Not really my style though. He draws steel. Let's start with 2 dice. He's dead. Simple as that. As you step over the dead bodies and head toward the exit, the door crashes open and in rushes a squad of guards from the south gate house. They have been summoned by the owner of the hall, and they are all armed with crossbows which they aim at your chest. "Yield, Northlanders!" orders their captain. "You have no hope save our mercy." You cast your eyes around the hall for another exit, but all are barred. Reluctantly, you and your companion raise your hands, and you are taken back to the South Gatehouse Tower. Banadon, because he is a magician, is taken to another part of the city wall to be questioned. While you are imprisoned in a cell high in the tower itself, place an X beside each of the special items, backpack items, and weapons listed on your action chart to indicate that they are no longer in your possession. If you had the Dagger of Ashna, do not forget to restore the 3 endurance points. We've been looted again. But they attacked us first. I know they're soldiers, but... The iron door slams shut and you are left alone to contemplate your unfortunate arrival in Tau. The cell is narrow and damp, with patches of mold that discolor the redstone walls. The uneven floor is strewn with filthy, moldy straw, and the stale air is heavy with the stench of rotting food and raw sewage. A solitary window is crisscrossed with bronze bars, green by age, and below it 1,000 scratches record the passing days of another visitor. We fell afoul of the gatehouse guard. Anxiously you cast your eyes around this filthy prison, searching for a chink in its armor that could lead to your escape. You have the Magnakai discipline of Nexus. Yep. Through the grill of the cell door, you can see a great iron key. It hangs from a hook on the wall a little way down the corridor. You focus your mastery of Nexus on this key, and it rises slowly from the hook and glides toward your open hand. With a smile of triumph, you grab the key, unlock the door, and step out into the empty corridor. Easy as that. At the end of the corridor, a flight of steps leads down to an open prison door. Cautiously, you peer around the doorway and see a man chained to the wall in the chamber beyond. He is lean and sinewy, with jet black hair and a bushy mustache, which he has braided into his long sideburns in a style known as Pirezin plaits, fashionable among Slovian warriors. He appears to be either asleep or unconscious. You enter the chamber, moving swiftly and silently toward a staircase on the opposite side, and immediately springs to life.
"Hold fast, Northlander!"
He hisses.
"They'll catch you for sure if you take the stairs. Let me loose and I'll show you a way to slip out of here, quicker than mist through a fishing net."
Quickly you consider his offer, but choose to leave him, deciding instead to trust your Kai instincts to aid your escape. You shake your head and turn to leave, but the man is shrewd. He says something that he knows will change your mind. Oh.
"You know where your friend is,"
He says, a note of desperation creeping into his voice.
And I know where they've stowed your equipment. Let me loose and I'll show you.
Grudgingly, you undo the manacles that encircle his wrist.
1,000 thanks,
He says, massaging his aching forearms.
My name is Sog, Master Thief of Suendina. I am at your service.
He bows, then he motions you to follow him to a closed door situated next to the open one, through which you enter the chamber.
This is the second time I've been invited to stay at these lodgings,
he whispers while working on a lock with a length of wire taken from the sleeve of his leather tunic.
Because I decided to cut short my last visit, they thought it best to keep me chained up this time.
There is a soft click, and Saga smiles proudly as he removes the wire from the lock.
Ha! That was simple,
he says, pushing open the door. Standing in the doorway are two burly guards, one clutching a bowl of food, and the other holding a large iron key.
I thought it locked open a bit too easily,
mumbles Sog as he backs away from the advancing guards. They drop what they are carrying and draw their swords. The murderous look in their eyes tells you beyond doubt that they are determined to prevent your escape.
Well, we're not armed.
Gatehouse guards, combat skill 20. So, basically it's a plus 10 combat ratio. But we don't have the summer sword. And we don't have the bronze sleeve right now. So it's a plus 1 combat ratio. Moreover, we don't have any weapon. So it's a minus 3 combat ratio. The guards have 26 endurance points. Bare-handed fight, that will be a hard one. You must deduct 4 points or only 2 if you possess weapon mastery and have reached the level of tutelary from your combat skill for the duration of the fight as you are without a weapon, attempting to knock the guards unconscious with your fist. You fight alone. Sug is cowering behind you using your body as a shield. Okay. That will be something. We need to roll at least 6 or 7 or higher for it to be a good roll. I think it's safe to roll 3 dice. Oh, that was a really nice roll. 10 against 0, I think, for the first. No, it's the 7 first. 7 against 2. 9 is 9 against 0, so 16-2. And the 0 is 10-0, so 26-2. They're dead. Wow, and we lost only 2 endurance points. Too easy. We're going to eat dirt at the end. You win the fight. Thug looks at you sheepishly as you search the unconscious guards.
I'm no fighter,
he says, apologizing for his cowardly behavior.
I've no stomach for it.
He grimaces at the sight of the battered bodies, but manages to overcome his squeamishness. when he espies a gold ring and a full purse on one of them. Your search reveals 4 useful items: 2 swords, 1 dagger, 1 iron key. Yeah, the iron key might be useful. And we're going to take a sword and a dagger, which is better than nothing. You let Sog keep the ring and the purse, and you hand him one of the swords, which he is reluctant to accept. The other 3 items you keep. You may carry the iron key in your pocket. After hiding the bodies, you follow Sog as he leads you through the chambers and corridors of the South Gatehouse Tower. Twice you are almost discovered, but your Kai skills and Sog's thief-like agility saved you both from further confrontation until you reach the ground floor of the tower. Still no equipment though. Crouching in the shadows beneath the staircase, you look to the end of a torchlit corridor where a soldier stands guard before a pair of solid iron gates.
"Your weapons and equipment are on the other side of that gate, my friend,"
whispers Sog.
"It's the tower's strong room, although it's not as strong as they'd like to think. They caught me inside once, but they never found out how I managed to get in. There's a secret passage that leads through the wall to the stables outside. If we can get past that guard and into the strong room, you can get your equipment back. I can get what I came here for, and we can both get away through the stables."
"But what about my friend?" you reply, worried about Banadon's safety.
"He's not here. I overheard the guards say they were taking him to the Eastgate barracks. I'd worry about his neck after you've saved your own if I were you."
You stare at the guard, a plan slowly forming in your mind. "Give me that purse of silver," you say, holding out your hand.
"Now, wait a minute,
replies Sug in a fluster. "Don't argue," you retort. "You'll get it back. I just need the right sort of bait to hook us this fish." Reluctantly, he hands over the purse. You leave the shadows and creep along the corridor, taking care to avoid the pools of flickering torchlight. When you're within 10 feet of the guard, you begin to lay a trail of silver loon all the way back to the staircase. After a few minutes, the guard notices the glint of silver and he cannot resist the temptation. He leaves his post and begins collecting the coins. You wait tensely, sword in hand, as slowly he approaches. He is within a few feet of your hiding place when suddenly he sees you. He starts to shout for help. You must act quickly or his cries will summon every guard in the tower. If you have the Magnakai discipline of size surge and have reached the rank of Principal, and we do. You focus on the guard and launch a pulse of psychic energy at his brain. He has no defense against such an attack and his entire body immediately begins to tremble and shake violently. After a few seconds, he lapses into unconsciousness. Sug first looks at the guard, and then he looks at you in awe.
How did you do that?"
He asks, incredulous. No time to explain. You reply, as you scramble out from beneath the stairs and move toward the unconscious guard. You scoop the strong room key from the guard's belt and hurry toward the gates while Sog retrieves his silver. Once you are both safely inside the strong room, you lock the heavy doors and search for your equipment. The room is stacked to the ceiling with all manner of goods and articles that have been confiscated by the gatehouse guards. Contraband, stolen goods, and illegal cargoes impounded at the south gate They're all stored here before being either destroyed or sold at auction. It is rumored that the gatehouse guards skim off the best booty for themselves. It is an open secret that the post of gatehouse commander is the most coveted of all in the Anarian army. You discover all your special and backpack items, but your weapons and weapon-like special items are nowhere to be seen. However, there are several fine weapons lying on the shelves, and you may rearm yourself with any of the following: sword, an axe, a bow, a quiver, 6 arrows, and a broadsword, and a warhammer. Well, axe bow, alright, we're back to what we had before. The quiver is smaller, and we have only 6 arrows. I'll add them to the 9 for now, though. Yeah, we can go over that. Let's write it like this, 9-6. Fog is busily sifting through a mound of silver and antique jewelry, pocketing the choicest items and tossing aside the rest. He comes across a diamond and obsidian signet ring and beams with delight.
Ah, I knew it was here,
he says and slips it inside his cut piece for safekeeping.
Come, we've both got what we want. We'd best leave now before they discover the dead guards.
He beckons you to help him drag a table away from the wall, and then proceeds to tap at the brickwork with the hilt of a dagger. 2 minutes later, he is becoming agitated. He has tapped every brick in 6 square feet of wall, but without any result. You cast your eye over the surface, and your Kai senses draws your attention to a brick in a different part of the wall. You tap it casually with the toe of your boot, and a panel slides aside to reveal the secret passage.
Oh, did you?
Yes, Sog, his eyes open wide with amazement. A lucky guess. You reply modestly and enter the dark tunnel. Sog follows and the panel slides closed just as a patrol of angry guards forces open the strongroom door. You raise the X marks on your action chart to restore your rediscovered special items and backpack items, and remember to alter your weapon list accordingly. Yeah, here they give an option that no special item would greatly increase the difficulty of the adventure, but well, can take an option and restore them, but we're not supposed to, so let's go without and see how it goes. We're going to be -9 combat ratio, combat skill rather, for a while. The passage is dark and very narrow, and you are forced to turn sideways in order to move along it. To make matters worse, the floor is littered with sharp rocks that graze and bruise your legs, making it difficult for you to stay on your feet. If you have a called fire sphere, a lantern, or a torch and tinderbox, we do have the fire sphere. In the glare of your light, you see the panel at the end of the passage loom into view. Damp green vines hang from the wall. However, it is not until you are within a few feet of the panel that you realize that the vines are not vines at all. They are the tentacles of a rocktopus that is nestling in the damp masonry. If your source of light is a torch, erase it from your action chart. If you have the Magnakai discipline of animal control, nope. Your light has awoken and angered the sleeping rocktopus, which uncoils its long slimy tentacles swiftly from the wall. They surge toward you like a mass of wriggling snakes. A rocktopus combat skill 18. So normally it will be a plus 12 combat ratio. Minus 3 for all the stuff that we love. 3 combat ratio. And we add time to heal our 2 endurance points. We're back to 38. Rocktopus has only 18 endurance points. I guess we're going to roll 3 dice. Nine, 4, 3. That's so good. This creature is immune to Mind Blast and Psi Surge. Owing to the confines of the passage, you must reduce your combat skill by 2 points for the duration of the fight. Oh. So actually it's a -1 combat ratio. Because we can't use Psi Surge. Well, Mind Blast. Okay. Will be a bit harder. A roll of 9. That's 10 damage against 0. A 4 is 5-4, so 15-4. And a 3 is 4-4. So 19-8. The creature is dead. We lost 8 endurance points. You win the combat.
The lever that opens the exit panel is near the ceiling,
Whispers Sock. Casting nervous glances over his shoulder. You can hear the guards scratching at the wall behind, trying to locate the brick which opens the concealed entrance. Your fingers find the lever, and you pull it. The panel slides aside, and you both step out into an empty ore stall. As the panel slides back into position, you jam it with astute pieces of timber. Fortunately, the stables are empty of guards, and it is easy to make your escape through a side window that gives access to a narrow alley.
Good luck, Northlander. I hope you find your friend. Remember, they have him locked up at the Eastgate Barracks,
says Sog. You bid him farewell, and as you watch him disappear into the shadows, you ponder your best course of action. We can make our way to the Eastgate Barracks, or seek the help of Chibin. Yeah, Chibin might be a good idea. That's where we were supposed to go. Banadon once told you that Chibin lives in the city's north district. At the end of the alley, you find a signpost pointing the way north. Wait in the shadows until the coast is clear, then you hurry across the street into an avenue called Brooker Court. Your passage along Brooker Court is hampered by companies of militia who march to and from the center of the city. The majority of them are oafish peasants, hastily armed with spear and sword, and bullied into a vague semblance of soldiery order by guardsmen from the Tau garrison. You wait in shadowy doorways and allow them to pass before continuing on your way toward the city's north district. You are nearing the end of Brooker Court, when a man dressed in an ill-fitting tunic staggers drunkenly out of a tavern and collides with you.
Sorry?
He hiccups and wanders off unsteadily into an alleyway to your left. If you have the Magnakai discipline of divination or hunt mastery, you have divination. Immediately, you sense that the drunken soldier is not what he seems. He's a skillful pickpocket and he has just stolen one of your special items. Pick a number from the random number table. Five. If the number you have chosen is 4 or lower, the item stolen is the first one on your list of non-weapon-like special items. If the number is 5 or to 9, he has stolen the second non-weapon-like item on the list. If you possess only one special item or no special items at all, then the pickpocket has stolen the first item on your list of backpack items. If the special item stolen will be armor, such as the chainmail waistcoat, battered padded leather waistcoat, shield or helmet, the pickpocket has stolen the first item on your list of backpack items instead. Whoa, complex. But it's the second one. And it's a chainmail waistcoat, which means it's an armor. So it's the first item on the list of backpack items instead. And he stole a rope. He just wants to hang himself. No way that I'm letting him go with my rope. After him. The alley is dark and narrow, but your basic eye tracking skill enables you to follow the pickpocket as he makes his hurried escape. Suddenly he senses you are following him, and he dives into the side entrance of a large 3-story building. You can chase him in the building, or walk away. No way. I need to get back that rope. The pickpocket lunges at you the moment you step into the building. He's wielding a cruel stiletto blade which he attempts to sink into your chest. Pickpocket combat skill 17. So it's basically a plus 13, minus 9, a plus 4 combat ratio. Combat skill, endurance 25. And 4, 5. We're at 36 out of 38 endurance points. You can evade the combat anytime. But it won't happen. Alright, 3 dice. The guy is down. You shall not steal my rope. Plus 4 combat ratio at 9. That's 14 against 0. And a 10 is 16 against 0. The guy is dead. No damage. No rope for you. Thoroughly, you search the clothes and backpack of the dead pickpocket and retrieve your stolen property. You also discover the following items which the thief has hidden about his person. A dagger, enough food for 2 meals. Backpack is full. 28 loon. Have space for 7. Yes, 7 loon, that's 28. I have just enough space for all the loon. Oh, nice. A blanket, a vial of blue pills. Huh. They ask if I already got a vial of blue pills in a previous adventure. I really don't recall. Damn, how far back I need to check. I have all my adventure sheet. Nope, only meals here. I'm pretty sure I didn't consume any blue pills. And I don't remember any blue pills in the last 3 books. So no blue pills. And I don't have the Magnakai discipline of curing. I think I'd like to take the blue pills though. I really don't know what they do, but I think it's not poison. I think I'm going to sacrifice the meal for that. What else was there? Blanket. Nah, with Nexus, don't really need that. Can return to Brooker Court or continue along the alley instead. Well, we need to go to Chiban, so Brooker Court. I didn't recall there was such a big CT adventure here. We're so far from the Cauldron and yet so close. Brooker Court ends at a plaza known as Glassblower Square. All the shops and houses in this area are owned by the Glassblowers Guild, and as a symbol of their wealth and influence in this part of the city, each of the slabs that pave the square is made entirely of colored glass. Each slab is several feet thick. There are 3 roads leading away from this plaza of glass: Lem Street, Southgate, and Rainbow Lane. Ugh. Can go north into Lem Street, south Southgate, and west Rainbow Lane. I'm guessing going to be north in Lem Street, otherwise I will have taken the west road. This narrow thoroughfare descends to a maze of broken streets and dank passageways that carry traffic to and from the city's north district. Guided by your basic kite tracking skill, you wend your way through these dingy lanes until finally you arrive at Leech Street and the house of Chiban the Magician. Hey Chiban, sorry. I lost Banadon. It is a grand building of polished red stone set with small diamond-pane windows. You pass beneath its arched gateway and climb the tiled steps that lead to the stout front door. Twice you rap the twisted iron knocker and wait expectantly for the portal to creak slowly open. Minutes later, It swings back to reveal two men standing in the doorway. One is the gray-haired aristocratic figure of Chiban. The other, to your utter astonishment, is your companion, Banadon. "Lone Wolf," says the young magician, his voice filled with surprise and delight. "You're free, but how?" "I could ask the same of you, Banadon," you reply with a smile. "I heard of my former pupil's arrest and made arrangements for his release. We are just discussing how to secure your freedom, but it will appear that such plans are now unnecessary," explains the aged Chiban, gently closing the Greek oak door. He turns his kindly gaze to you and says, "I am honored to meet you, young Kai. Banadon has told me of your quest. I have knowledge of that which you seek, and I shall aid you all I can so that you may recover it." The master magician beckons you both to follow him to his study. But the summer surge. The room is filled with massive wooden racks of books and papers. At its center, a large circular table stands completely covered with the implements of his magical researches. He clears the space amidst its clutter and motions you to sit. "You must both be famished after your journey and your ordeal. Come, eat and enjoy." For a few seconds, a shimmering pool of light fills the space, and it fades, leaving a sumptuous meal in its wake. If you have lost any endurance points on your adventure so far, you may now restore up to 6 points as you consume this delicious food. We're back top shape. Alright. Chiban also offers you a vial of Rendalim's elixir. Quite better. I'm feeling like dropping meals left and right. Actually, we have 41 endurance points because of the missing dagger of Ashna. But well, we'll see it comes into play further down. I hope there's a way to recoup our lost items somewhere. When you have finished your meal, you talk at length about your journey from the sea and your quest for the Lord Stone of Tau. Chiban produces a map of the city which he unfurls on the floor of his study. It is the only surface not cluttered with magical equipment. With his two, he points to the location of the Tau Cauldron. It is in the Square of the Dragons in the west district of the city. The cauldron is a funnel-shaped hollow with a circular shaft at its base. The shaft descends to the ruins of the ancient city of Zarix, some 500 feet below the streets of Tau. Legend says that the Lord Stone was thrown into the cauldron to prevent the Black Zakan of Vazagonia from capturing it during the Great Kor-Skarn War. The shaft was closed and has remained sealed for the past 350 years. He looks up from the map, and you notice that his smiling features are now sad and composed. At dawn, the armies of Darklog Nyag will be at the gates of the city, and the Battle of Tau will have begun. My duty is here, in the defense of my beloved city. Otherwise, I will willingly accompany you on your search. There is only one man who can help you now, for he is the only one that can grant you access to the shaft that descends to Zarix. He is President Tultuda of Fanari. Come, I will arrange an audience with him immediately. With a casual wave of his hand, Chiban conjures up a quill and a sheet of parchment. He begins to dictate the request for an audience, and the quill moves of its own accord, as if guided by an invisible hand. The request, once completed, then dispatched by messenger to the Anarium, the House of the Senate, where members of the Governing Council have gathered for an emergency assembly called for by the President himself. Within the hour, the messenger returns with a scroll bearing the presidential seal.
He has agreed to hear your plea, Lone Wolf,
says the aged magician, his blue eyes scanning the official reply. Banadon congratulates you, and you feel your spirits rise, but Chiban seems a little disappointed.
I was expecting a private tour. You must appear before the Senate this evening and state your reasons for wishing to enter the Tau Cauldron. They will consider your request and vote accordingly. If they grant their approval, only you may enter. If they forbid you entry, you may not appeal against it. Their decisions will be final. He hands you the scroll and arranges for his personal coach to take you to the Anarium. As you climb into the passenger's seat, he and Banadon wish you good luck. I shall pray to Ishir for your success, says Shiban. And I shall pray that we are still alive to see your triumphant return, old friend, says Banadon, as you exchange a farewell wave. The great flagstone precinct at the entrance to the Anarium is packed with hundreds of people. Senate officials, soldiers, and a myriad of citizens crowd the steps that give access to the grand foyer and outer chambers of the hall. You notice that a side entrance is being used exclusively by army scouts. They arrive with dispatches and leave with orders for the lookouts hidden in the surrounding hills. You take a calculated gamble and order the carriage driver to draw up at the side entrance. This bold move pays off. Upon seeing your presidential scroll, not only do the guards allow you into the Anarium, they also escort you to the appellant's gallery inside the assembly hall itself. From your seat in the gallery, you stare down at an oval hall, ringed by 12 arches beneath which the senators of Anari sit upon their throne-like chairs of lacquered green oak. President Toltuda occupies a seat in the center of the hall and presides over a heated discussion that is raging back and forth. Having heard all sides of the argument, he calls for a vote, and the issue is decided by a show of hands. We now come to a quite extraordinary matter, which has been raised by one of our most eminent citizens, says President Toltuda, introducing your appeal to the Senate. He turns to the gallery and calls out, "Some lending appellant, Lone Wolf, please make yourself known to the assembly." You rise from your seat and bow to the senators.
Please present your request to us, Lone Wolf, says the President, and a hush descends on the hall as you explain the purpose of your journey to Tau. When you have finished your account, the President calls upon the senators to speak.
I say we should hold the some landing,
Pipes the voice of Senator Zillaris.
If Lone Wolf finds the Lore Stone, its power could turn the tide and save Tau from the clutches of Dark Lord Nahag.
A murmur of agreement stirs in the hall.
And I say we should refuse to open the cauldron,
booms the powerful voice of Senator Chill.
I say that if it were not for Lone Wolf's presence in our city, we would be spared the attention of Dark Lord Nahag. This some landing is the object of the Dark Lord's anger and spite. I say we should give Lone Wolf to Nahag, and in doing so we will save our city, our country, our people, and ourselves.
A surge of support echoes from the arches, and your skin prickles at the thought of what could happen. President Toltuda calls for a vote to decide whether the Senate should allow you to enter the cauldron or use you to bargain for peace with Dark Lord Nahag. Tensely you await the result. The votes are cast and counted, and the Senate is split evenly. 6 votes for you and 6 votes against. The decision now rests with the President himself. He must cast the deciding vote. Pick a number from the random number table. Nine. If you possess Lorta's invitation, subtract 1. Quite a bad omen. If the result is 5 or higher, it is so much higher. A bronze beacon, the Anarian symbol of law and order, is fixed into a plinth of marble that stands beside the President's chair. He moves his finger to a button on the arm of the chair, and all eyes turn to stare at the beacon. There is a flash of ignition, and a jet of red flame roars upward toward the dome's ceiling.
Seize the Kai!
Shouts Senator Chill.
Seize Lone Wolf!
The President has voted against you, and now the Senate guards are closing in on all sides to arrest you. In a single bound, you leave your seat and sprint along the gallery toward an empty staircase. To your right, a guard is rushing to intercept your escape. He is unarmed, but he has a net with which he hopes to ensnare you. He casts it as you are about to descend the stairs. Pick a number from the random number table.
So bad.
8. If you have the Magnakai Discipline of Hunt Mastery, nope. If you have completed the Lore Circle of Fire, nope. If it is 3 or higher. We're in deep shit. You flatten yourself against the floor and the net passes harmlessly over your head. Before the guard can react, you are back on your feet and running headlong down the stairs. 3 soldiers await you at the bottom of the staircase. They clutch wooden staves in their sweaty hands. They're ready to beat you senseless the moment you appear.
Get the Kai!
They shout and run forward, clumsy and flat-footed compared with your cat-like strides. Before they can land a single blow, you leap among them, striking left and right too quickly for the eyes to follow. They scream and clutch at their wounds as you break through them and make your getaway unarmed. You run from the staircase as quickly as you can and follow a corridor that heads toward the front of the Anarium. In the distance, you can see an entrance hall teeming with people. Soldiers, both armed with halberds, are standing on guard with their backs toward you. To your left is the window. You look through the lilac-tinted glass and see your carriage parked close to the side of the building. You can go through the window or the corridor. Yeah, the window with the carriage. We can break through the glass. The window is bolted shut. If you are determined to escape by this way, you will have to take the risk of jumping through a pane of thick glass. Well. All in, I guess. Goodbye, window. You raise your hood and wrap yourself in your Kai cloak to minimize the risk of being cut by broken glass. Keeping feet first, you escape through the window with only a few minor scratches. Lose 1 endurance point. Let's see if I get it back afterward. But the glass shatters with such a terrific crash that it alerts the soldiers who are standing on guard at the side door. They surround the carriage and arrest the driver, forcing you to abandon your hopes of escaping that way. Damn. I thought that the carriage was closer than this. Using the cover afforded by the crowds, you escape across the precinct that surrounds the Senate House and enter a labyrinth of passageways that disappear into a neighborhood known as the Parish of Thieves. However, your escape has not gone completely unnoticed. From a tower of the Anarium, the captain of the Senate Guard has been watching your getaway through his telescope, and he has dispatched a troop of his best men to track you down. On the corner of a dark alley, you hear the sound of drunken laughter floating up from the battered door of an ale cellar. You turn away, but a sudden tramp of booted feet echoing along the passage behind makes you change your mind. Quickly you descend the steps and take shelter in this lowly tavern. The cellar is full of rough-faced villains. They are laughing and bragging about their illegal exploits as they swill their tankards of sour ale. You cross the crowded floor and sit at the end of a table as far away from the door as possible. A thin, wiry fellow with curly black hair approaches you with a pewter mug of foaming ale in one hand. You have taken his seat, and he is determined to get it back. If you have ever escaped from the Southgate Tower, we did. At once you recognize Sogv, the thief who helped you escape from the Southgate Tower.
Hail, Northlander,
he says, a wide grin spreading across his mouse-like face.
So, we meet again. What prompts you to visit the Purple Purse Ale Cellar?
Before he can reply, the door bursts open and in rush 6 heavily armed Senate House guards. Thinking that the ale cellar is being raided, which is something of a routine event here at the Purple Purse, the shady patrons drop their drinks and flee toward the open door in an attempt to escape arrest. Sogv grabs your sleeve and points to a shadowy archway.
Time to leave, he says. Follow me.
Amid chaos and confusion, you leave the ale cellar through a concealed door in the wall of the arch. It opens onto a sloping passage that descends to a tunnel which is lit by old soaked torches, fixed at random along the tiled walls. A foul smell assails your nostrils, the unmistakable stench of an underground sewer. You follow Sogv along a narrow ledge which runs parallel to a sluggish sewage channel, taking care not to slip on the slime-encrusted tiles. After a few minutes, he halts beneath one of the spluttering torches and presses his rusty iron bracket. There is a grating rumble, and a section of the tunnel wall opens inward to reveal an amazing sight. Before you lies a huge chamber. Its walls are hung with silk and fine tapestries, and its sunken floor is piled high with glittering treasures. As you enter, a perfumed breeze ruffles your hair, and the pleasant sound of songbirds fills your ears. Thug leads you past a bubbling pool of crystal clear water into an antechamber. Here, lying on a padded couch of scarlet velvet rests the ruler of this sanctuary. He is swathed in an extravagant costume of many colors. His large square face is framed by a hood trimmed with a strange purple fur. He stirs from his slumber and slowly opens his cold black eyes.
"Sug, who is this?"
he shouts angrily.
"Why have you brought a stranger here?"
The thief tries to offer an explanation, but it only serves to anger the man even more.
"Sug, you sniveling fool!"
he bellows.
"You know it is forbidden to bring outsiders into the secret entrance enclaves of the guild. I shall have you flogged to the bone for your stupidity. For all we know, this Nordlander could be a spy or..."
He swallows hard, staring at you fearfully.
"An assassin!"
Snatches a gem from his pocket and holds it in the air.
"Kadul Danarliuk!"
He breathes in a vivid green flame and engulfs the sparkling jewel. If you have the Magnakai discipline of size screen. We do. Pulses of psychic energy leap from the gem and wash over you in waves that leave you shaking and breathless. Your psi screen protects your nervous system, but you are unable to stop the pulses from penetrating deep into your mind. The man commands you to reveal the real reason you are here. Steadily he increases the force of his mind gem until you can no longer resist. The man smiles smugly as you recount everything about yourself, your quest for the Lore Stone, and your ordeal at the Senate House. When finally you reach the end of your account, he gives vent to a long, sardonic laugh.
"I, Magana, the Guildmaster of Thieves, in all the years I have dwelt beneath the Velvet Fortress, have dispatched many men to the Tau Cauldron to seek out ancient treasures. Though few have gone willingly and fewer still have returned alive. Know this, some lending. The Cauldron is but one way to enter the main shaft to Zarix. There are other routes, other shafts, and all of them are known to me. I will show you one such shaft, but you must do something for me in return. Is it agreed?"
Cautiously, you ask his terms.
My son Aibek entered the shaft 3 moons ago, drawn by youthful curiosity and stories of dragon gold. He has not returned. All I ask is that if you should find his body, you will bring me the ring he wears upon his right hand.
Without hesitation, you agree to these terms, for they seem most reasonable. He smiles, but this time his eyes glow with a strange intensity, as if he were a man teetering on the brink of madness.
Do not fail me,
he says softly. He holds aloft the sparkling mind gem and says, I shall know if you lie. Well, 2 missions in one. Magnakai leads you to another room, one of several which lead from his sumptuous chamber, and he approaches a daze standing near the door. He passes his hand over a crystal set into its obsidian surface, and at once a section of the wall moves inward, exposing darkness beyond. An icy damp wind fills the room, carrying with it a rank smell of decay. Elsewhere in the chamber there are several tables laden with equipment. It has been placed here for the use of those who will dare venture beyond the windswept portal.
Take what you need,
says Magnakai, his voice barely audible above the howling of the gate.
Then go. Oh.
He ushers Sog from the chamber and locks the door behind him. Can investigate the equipment, or ignore that, and check the portal instead. Okay, let's check the equipment. Maybe some of the stuff is ours. Sift through the items heap on the tables and disentangle the following, which could be useful. Dagger, short sword, bow, shield. I don't think it's not a weapon like special item. We already the bronze sleeve. 9. Actually right now we have 9 special item right now. So I can take a shield. Oh, a padded leather waistcoat. Three arrows, spear, 3 meals, rope, canteen of water, torch, tinderbox, blanket. Alright, with all this it gives +1 combat skill and +1 Endurance skill. Because we can take the Bronze Sleeve shield with the standard shield. You also find the rune pouch of an unfortunate former victim. The belt attached to it has been cut, one end stained with mostly dried blood. Inside the pouch are 3 glass vials. A tincture of oxidine. It's a +2 endurance points. Not very good. Don't need that. A potion of Lumspur, we have one, and a potion of Alatier. Ah. Let's wait for this. Canteen of water is a special item. If you are unable to eat a meal when asked and you have a canteen of water, you need only deduct 2 endurance instead of 3. You can drink a canteen of water only one time. After it must be refilled when you find a source of potable water, notably when you return to a city or at the end of your adventure. Okay. No summer sword though. Was there any arrows? 3 arrows. Okay, yeah. So we're up to 9 with ours. Well, it's a quiver of 6. Yeah. Can go above 6. Your pulse quickens as you stare into the black abyss beyond the portal. You can make out neither walls nor roof, and the hollow wind that whistles in the darkness makes it easy to imagine that you are staring into a limitless void. There is a rope ladder fixed to the threshold of the portal. It descends into the darkness below. You want to gather up the ladder? To judge how deep it is, or we can simply descend. I guess it's a good idea just to check. The gap between each rung measures approximately 1 foot, and you gather in over 400 rungs before reaching the end of the ladder. The thought of having to descend such an enormous depth fills you with dread, but your desire to find the lower stone overcomes this fear. You feed the rope ladder back into the void and begin your descent. The descent is slow and arduous and fraught with many hazards. The wind becomes stronger and colder the further you go, numbing your fingers and sapping your strength. A sudden gust swings you into an outcrop of black rock, almost invisible in the gloom, and the impact makes you lose your grip. Pick a number from the random number table. A 0, which is 10. If you have the Magnakai Discipline of Hunt Mastery and or Nexus, yes, so that's 13 if it is 7 or higher. Despite of your fatigue, your reactions are still fast and sure. You regain your grip in an instant and raise your foot to steady yourself against the jagged outcrop. As soon as the ladder ceases to twist like an angry snake, you continue your descent. When you reach the bottom rung, you are horrified to discover that the ladder stops short of solid ground. There is nothing but darkness below. You peer into the gloom, but it is impossible to see how much further you have to descend. To your left, you can see the faint outline of a ledge. It is 20 yards away. If you have a rope, yeah, the rope that we got back from the pickpocket, I absolutely need to use it right now. You tie one end of the rope to the bottom rung and drop the rest into the darkness. Seconds later, you hear it strike stone and you realize that you will not have too far to descend. As you climb down the rope, you pass through a layer of mist that glows with a curious blue-green luminescence. Now 20 feet below the mist, your feet touch firm ground. You must now erase the rope from your action chart. But the rope didn't kill us this time. Close to where you land, there are the skeletal remains of a human body. You can examine the body, maybe it's a book. The moldering bones are encased in the tattered remains of a blue leather tunic and breeches. Maybe not. Both thigh bones are shattered and the skull and spine are cracked in several places, suggesting that its poor unfortunate fell to their death from a great height. You can find no weapons, and the backpack and haversack that are strapped to the body are both unbuckled and empty. They have been looted. You check the corpse's right hand, but there are no rings on any of the bony fingers. This is not Magana's son. When you are satisfied that you have overlooked nothing, you leave the remains and investigate the chamber. The ridge walls of the stone chamber narrow to a point where the mouth of a tunnel disappears deeply into the solid black rock. You enter the tunnel, taking care to control your descent as you slide toward the dim, flickering light, which marks the end of the shaft. Halfway along the shaft, you hear a rumble, like the sound of a distant earthquake. Then cracks appear in the roof, and a deluge of dust and rubble pours down, choking and blinding you as it clogs your throat and eyes. If you have the Magnakai discipline of Nexus, you do. Your Magnakai discipline enables you to filter air from the massive dust cloud without inhaling any of its harmful grit. The cloud contains fungal spores that are deadly to humans, but your Kai skill shields you from these perilous microscopic cells. Violently, the circular walls tremble and shake. You slip and tumble headlong down the shaft, landing with a jolt on a slab of flat, spongy rock at the edge of a huge subterranean lake. There is a tremendous roar as the ceiling of the tunnel collapses and tons of rock crash down to seal the shaft. Your spirits sink as you contemplate your fate, for the only way you know of escaping from the gigantic underground grotto has now been sealed off. However, you are not completely without hope. Your senses detect a powerful presence. It is a feeling you have known before when you have been close to discovering a lore stone, but never has the sensation been as strong as it is here and now, in this dark subterranean world. As your eyes become accustomed to the half light, you look across the lake to see tiers of grey stone rising out of the water. They are the steps of a gigantic staircase that ascends to an arch of rock veined with glittering minerals. You skirt the edge of the lake and arrive at the foot of these steps to discover a cave-like hollow chiseled from the stone wall. You are exhausted, and must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. This subterranean area is a wasteland in regard to fulfilling meal requirements with hunting and hunt mastery. Rather than attempt to go on, you climb into the empty hollow and settle down to sleep. Well, here goes our one and only meal after trashing most of them. We're out. You are awoken by the fetid stench of decay. A grey-skinned humanoid creature squatting on his haunches stares down at you with grim inhuman eyes. Drool trickles from his ragged lips. The rusty sword held in his twisted man-like hand is raised aloft in readiness to kill. Zarik's Ghoul. Combat skill 19. That means you should have a combat ratio of plus 11. But we don't have the Summer Sword. We don't have the Brunnen Sleeve Shield. So that's a plus 2 combat ratio. But now we have a shield. So we're at plus 4. Pretty much it. The ghoul has endurance 27. And for us, we're at 38 technically. Plus 3. Because we don't have the Dagger of Ashna, that's 41. Minus 1 for the Brunnen Shield, that's 40. Plus 2 for the Waistcoat, 42. If you possess the Summer Sword, we don't have it right now. We double all endurance point losses. Owing to the surprise of this attack, you cannot make use of a bow. Unless you possess the Magnakai discipline of Hunt Mastery, deduct 3 from your combat skill for the duration of the fight. We don't have Hunt Mastery. Visibility didn't serve purpose as much. So it's a combat ratio plus 1. Okay, I think it's safe to roll 3 dice on this one. Two, 3, 4 bad rolls. 5, 4, 6, 3, and 7, 3. So that's 18 against 10. I think 2 more dice rolls will be needed. 3 and 4 not really great again. 6, 3, and 7, 3. The creature is dead. We lost 6 more endurance points. This one hurts a lot. You win the combat. It will take a long time to replenish all this. Your killing blow knocks the ghoul out of the hollow and sends it tumbling into the lake. More of the corpse-like creatures can be seen creeping along the shore, and the sound of their snuffling whispers and curses make your blood run cold. They move with unnatural speed, and they are eager to feast on your flesh. If you have a bow and wish to use it, I'm not sure that the bow will be mighty useful here with this kind of creature. The other options are to evade the ghouls by leaving the hollow and climbing the steps, or fight them. Yeah, I think we're at the evading phase here. As you step from the hollow, a weight drops onto your back and drags you to your knees. Long, sharp-tipped fingers, as hard as steel, clamp around your throat, and the close sound of gnashing fangs fills your ears. You twist and roll, hoping to break from the undead's grip, but his hold is unnaturally strong. Another ghoul. Combat skill 18. Does he have the same combat skill as the other one? Sure. Nope, he's one lower. Oh, it's a +2, and unless something is said about unmastery, that's +5 combat ratio. The ghoul has 29 endurance points. And we currently have 27 endurance points. He possesses a summer sword. Nope. Reduce combat skill by 3 for the duration, unless you possess unmastery or divination. Alright, we have divination. Divination, we're fine. We need to win the fight in 3 rounds or less. With the +5 combat ratio, it's doable depending on the rolls. Let's roll 3 dice. Average roll 584. Ten 2, 14 0. That's 24 2. And 9-2. The creature is dead, but we lost 4 more endurance points. Took exactly 3 rounds. The speed with which you slew your attacker strikes fear into the grisly hearts of the advancing ghouls. Slowly they slink away, until their grey forms merge with the shadows at the far side of the lake. You are about to hurry away from the hollow, in case they shall return with more of their kind, when you notice an odd-looking token lying next to the dead ghoul. You can examine the token or ignore this. Let's examine. Always a good idea to do that. It is hexagonal in shape and made of a thin cream-colored metal, which is engraved with the number 6. Make a note of this number in the margin of your action chart. It should prove to be useful at a later stage of your adventure. Here, it's written down. The metal begins to get hot and soon you can bend it with your fingers. Suddenly it bursts into flames, and you are forced to fling it aside before it burns your hand. The flaming token hits the lake and explodes in a cloud of white powdery smoke. The echo of the hissing explosion reverberates across the water, and you turn to leave straight away in case it attracts more ghoulish inhabitants. The climb to the arch at the top of the stairs is a slow and laborious one. Each step is as tall as a young tree, and the smooth black stone offers few handholds. Several hours slip by before you reach the summit. Fatigued by the long climb but elated to have reached the summit, you stare down through the great archway at the stupendous sight. The streets and buildings of an ancient civilization lie before you, disappearing into the gloom of a titanic chasm of immeasurable size. Ziggurats and towers, their carved walls cracked and crumbling, lean at impossible angles, having sunk into the soil over the centuries. This is Xarix, the legendary metropolis that was once home to a species fathered by Nixator, the greatest of all the ancient dragons. It is the only city to have survived, more or less undamaged, the age of chaos that followed the demise of their species. A wide avenue leads from the archway to enter the city, at a place flanked by two massive statues of dragons. They squat on their haunches with their stone-fanged mouths agape. You stop to rest here, and you must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. Xarix is a wasteland in regard to fulfilling meal requirements with hunting and hunt mastery skills. You have a canteen of water. You can use it right here to lose only 2 endurance points that I've noted on the side. You're about to set off into the city when you catch a glimpse of a shadowy figure moving furtively among an edifice to your left. If you have completed the Lord Circle of the Spirit, you did. Sense an aura of psychic energy burning fiercely at the core of the moving shadow. The creature possesses a supernatural force of great destructive power. To approach it could be fatal, yet to ignore it could prove equally disastrous. If you choose to raise your psi screen and approach the shadow, we can avoid it by hurrying away. Ugh. Can I put on the psi screen and get away? I think it's better to scurry away for now because of the low endurance points. You have taken less than a dozen steps when a terrible pain lances through your mind. A swirling cloud of mist engulfs your body, and you are held in its paralyzing grip. Unless you possess the Magnakai discipline of Psi Screen and have reached the Magnakai rank of tutelary or higher, you lose 3 endurance points. No problem here. Gritting your teeth against the dreadful pain, force yourself to turn and face your attacker as it runs forward to strike you down. You are in combat with a powerful denizen of Zarix. There is no time to evade its attack, and you must fight it to the finish. Ghoul. Combat skill 20. That's 2 more than the last combatant. So we have 3 combat ratio. Oh yeah, we had divination last time. And endurance 30. On Lone Wolf's side, we're at 23. -2, 21. We're at 25, the healing skill. I think it's still safe. No need for a potion yet. This foe is immune to Mind Blast, but not Psy Surge, which means it's a combat ratio 1 instead of 3. He possesses the Summer Sword, not anymore. Okay, a +1 combat ratio should be fine. Unless we roll really badly. 4 dice rolls. Start it out. Oh, 3149. Not so good. Four, 5. That's the second one. 6-3 for the first. And 4-5, that's 10-8. 4, 7-3, that's 17-11. And 9, 12 and nothing. That's 29. Ah! 1 endurance point short. And 11 on our side. Down to 14. The next roll will kill the creature. And there it is. We don't lose any more endurance points, which is really good news. We win the combat. It's a lot of creatures back to back. At last the grisly creature surrenders to death and collapses at your feet. You sheath your weapon and kneel over its torn body, drawn by the sight of a ring on a finger of its right hand. It gleams incredibly, as if it were only minutes old, and the deep yellowish stone that is set in the silvery metal glows with an eerie eldritch light. You wish to keep this psychic ring. Mark it on your action chart as a special item that you keep in your pocket. The psychic ring will allow you to use Mind Blast with all its combat skill bonus rounded up against any enemy that is immune to it, unless they are immune to Psy Surge also. Quite nice. I'm not sure we have the space though. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. One and that doesn't count. And I don't really care about the receive, honestly. I'm wondering if it's the ring that we need to give back to Magnakai. I hope not. For countless hours you follow the great avenue as it bisects the heart of Xarix. The once grand buildings that lined his ancient thoroughfare are in varying states of decay. Some are almost intact while others have disintegrated into little more than piles of black rubble. You try to keep track of time, but it proves difficult in the perpetual half-light of this buried world. Twice you stop to sleep and eat before you near the center of the city. Erase 2 meals from your action chart or lose 3 endurance points for each meal. If you possess Hunt Mastery, you are able to forage food from the wasteland of Xarix. I think we were able to replenish the canteen at the lake though, so it's a -5. You don't have Hunt Mastery to forage for food. At its center you discover a great hall. Its smoothly arched porticos are undamaged by the passage of time. As you pass through one of these massive arches, you notice a group of reptilian creatures huddled at the top of a staircase that descends into darkness. They are stroking a large leathery egg and speaking to each other in a low hissing language. You can approach the creature, call out to them, or shoot them with a bow. Well, with all the options there, I think the best will be to approach under the cover of the pillars, stealthily. I doubt that those reptilian creatures are peaceful. The black flagstones are covered with a fine layer of grit that scrunches with every step you take. If you have the Magnakai discipline of invisibility and have attained the rank of Principalin, finally invisibility serves something. Using your improved mastery, silently you move forward pillar by pillar until you're within a few feet of the creatures. Their heads resemble those of baby crocodiles, but their bodies and forelimbs are toad-like and covered with hard, shiny scales. They chatter incessantly. Judging by their behavior and speech patterns, they are sentient, humanoid beings. If you possess the Magnakai discipline of divination, you do. You detect that these creatures have the ability to communicate telepathically, although it is one of their less developed skills. You sense that their leader might be female. She is taller and lighter in color than the others. You take the risk of calling to her telepathically, and she responds by turning to face you. When her companions see what has attracted our attention, they shriek with fear and scurry down the stairs, carrying with them the egg, which they cradle protectively in their webbed hands. Yet she remains, and speaks to you with her mind. You are unlike the other man-things that have ventured into our domain. What do you seek? Care you not what happens to those of your kind who trespass here? The reptilian points to the far end of the hall where a group of ghouls are huddled in the shadows. Your skin creeps when you realize they were once human like you. I seek the Lore Stone, you reply boldly. I am the Kai warrior Lone Wolf, and I quest for the wisdom of Nixator, that I may vanquish the heirs of his enemies and save my people from destruction. Her arch gaze softens as your proud words fill her mind. You sense deep sadness within her, yet she replies with words of joy. Your quest will be fulfilled, as it was by your sire many centuries. We have waited long for your coming, Skarn, and we will fulfill our duty to he who gave us life. Without any outward sign, she beckons you to follow her, and you comply without hesitation. You follow her along passages in sloping tunnels, down long flights of stairs and through magnificent chambers that no human eye has ever seen before. The alien splendor of this ancient city leaves you in awe of the species that once dwelt within these halls. For interminable hours you follow in her wake until you arrive at a circular chamber constructed of rust-red stone. The floor descends in a series of wide steps that encircle the room, and in the middle of the tiers is a shallow pit with a stone dais at its center. At your approach, the dais glows with a crimson light that pulses like a living heart. Shimmering waves of silvery radiance sweep the steps, and a chorus of voices, soft and serenic, echo through the upper reaches of the chamber. Surrender yourself to instinct and step upon the dais, cupping your hands before you and raising your face to the room. A golden light pours out of the darkness, soaking you in its brilliance and filling your senses with glowing warmth. A gasp of awe arises from the tiers, now crowded with reptilians. They are the Krokariks, the guardians of this city, the stewards of the Lore Stone, who were placed here by the great god Kai. With joy and sorrow, they have gathered to witness the fulfillment of their purpose, for your coming marks the end of their stewardship and the beginning of their demise. High above you a shadow is taking form, at the core of the golden light. It is dark and glittery and shaped like an egg. Slowly it breaks and peels open to reveal the sparkling crystal sphere. It is the Lore Stone of Tau, the object of your quest. A warm tingling runs through your body as the Lore Stone descends into your hands. As you touch a crystal, your senses become charged with a new vitality that obliterates the fatigue of your ordeal and fills you with newfound wisdom and strength. Restore your endurance score to its original total. That's 42 right now. A swirl of color engulfs your body and you feel yourself fall forward into the throat of a spinning vortex. The chamber dissolves and you start to rise at an ever-increasing speed. It is as if you are falling upward. A surge of light makes you close your eyes, but it passes in an instant, and you find yourself staring down at an incredible and terrible sight. You look upon the city of Tau from the balcony of a tall tower, the spire of the Talis Temple, situated at the heart of the Rainbow Park. It is noon, but there is no brightness on this day, for a grey blanket of smoke covers the sky. Below you lies a shattered city, its once proud buildings now seething infernos, its streets and squares choked with burning wood and smoldering rubble. Hasty defenses have been constructed where the city wall is old or fallen, and the battlements to the north and east are carpeted with the unburied dead. Beyond the wall, the flats lie shrouded in a mist that curls like the smoke of 1,000 campfires. Its thickness is unnatural, and you sense at once that it has been conjured to hide the enemy. You leave the tower and make your own way through the burning streets toward the west district, to where the fighting at the wall is fiercest. You pass the smoldering ruins of the Anarium and take a fire-swept street that leads to the west gate. A building at the end of this street is being used as a shelter for the wounded. The roof has caught fire, and a handful of soldiers are trying desperately to evacuate the injured before it collapses. You can stop and help the soldiers, or continue toward the west gate. But the soldiers hate us. Alright, let's be the good guy. Ay ay ay. The first floor is soon set ablaze as the wind whips the roof fire into a raging inferno. A soldier, his face and uniform completely black with soot, staggers down the stairs and collapses into your arms.
The captain's up there!
He croaks, his throat raw from inhaling the scorching air.
He went to save his brother just before the roof got.
You have the Magnakai Discipline of Nexus and have reached the Magnakai rank of Principal in... We do. You focus your improved Kai mastery at the flames engulfing the top of the staircase. After a few seconds they flicker and die, allowing you to reach the first floor in safety. The captain is crouched over his brother, protecting him with his body from fiery debris that is raining down from the roof. Swiftly you pull him to his feet and motion him to help carry his wounded brother out of the house. As you reach the street below, the roof collapses and the whole of the first floor is swallowed by flames.
We owe you our lives,
says the captain gratefully as his men load his brother onto an open-backed wagon.
I must return to my command at the North Gate. Will you join me? I will be honored to fight by your side.
You can go to the North Gate, or go to the West Gate. But I think my stuff is at the East Gate. La 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 la. Okay, Captain. I don't have the East Gate as option anyway. The wagon races along the rubble-strewn street towards the tower, one of many that reinforce the city wall. Standing at the top of the tower is your companion, Banadon. You ask the captain to stop and let you speak to your old friend, but he refuses even to slow down.
I must reach the North Gate without any delay.
He bellows and then he whips the horses to increase their speed. If you have the Magnakai Discipline of Divination, we do. You have a strong premonition that death will befall you if you decide to stay on board the wagon. You can take heed of the Kai sense and leap from the speeding wagon. Or ignore the premonition. Yeah, right, no. You won't ignore this. You search the road ahead for somewhere soft to land, but the surface is strewn with sharp boulders. Pick a number from the random number table. That's 10. You have the Magnakai Discipline of Unmastery. Nope, if it's 7 or higher. You dive, roll twice, and then bounce back onto your feet, suffering nothing more serious than a grazed shoulder and a bruised knee. Lose 1 endurance point. And we can enter the tower where Banadon is. The iron door to the tower is unlocked and you enter unopposed. At the top of the steep stone steps, you find a ladder to a trapdoor. Quickly, you climb the ladder and emerge onto the roof. "By the gods!" exclaims Banadon when you appear. "My prayers have been answered! You are alive, Lone Wolf! You are alive!" Tears of joy fill his eyes as he welcomes your return warmly. He and his mentor, Chiban, have been viewing the siege from this vantage point for the last 3 days. From this position, they control the movement of the few reserves allocated to the north and west city walls, using them to fill in the gaps where the enemy's attacks have weakened the defenses. Banadon recounts how the siege has progressed. Twice the enemy has broken into the city and been repelled by the determined defenders. Attacks from the air have set the city ablaze, but the enemy has lost great numbers of flying Kran, and now they dare not use the few remaining. The Anarium was destroyed in the first few hours of the siege, and many senators lost their lives, including Senator Chill and President Toltuda. Karma is a bitch. Then he asks of your quest and is overjoyed to hear of its success. The gods smile on you, Lone Wolf. So long as you live, there is hope for us all. Relentlessly, the enemy pours their fire upon the north and west city walls until the black sky above Tau takes on a vivid scarlet glow. The defenders look to their weapons uneasily and pray that the gods be with them, at least until dawn. When the first rays of dawn light up show above the eastern hills, no mist enshroud the armies of Dark Lord Nahag. They are massed in all their glory, awaiting the order to attack. You cast your eye across this sea of doom and mark the flags of many regiments of evil that are ranged against the walls of Tau. As you descend the tower steps to help the defenders, you observe the initial movements of the enemy troops. The armored legions of Vasagonia are the first to advance, moving in ordered columns toward the west gate. At their head walks a figure sheeted in gold. All around his body there is a cold blue fire which glows intensely. He strides within range of the city archers, and they send a cloud of arrows to greet him, but these shatter when they encounter his impregnable glowing shield. He crosses the siege bridge and halts before the west gate. In his hand is an orb of black metal. He holds it before him and mouths an incantation. Instantly a bolt of scarlet flame lances from the orb and destroys the great doors with a thunderous boom. Proudly he strides into the city, and the defenders melt before him. One brave soldier summons enough courage to attack him with a spear. There is the crackling flash, and in an instant the man is transformed into a pile of glowing cinders. He advances unchecked and undaunted by all attacks, for they cannot penetrate his magical shield. Only when he comes face to face with you at the foot of the tower does he deign to halt. "I have come for you, Lone Wolf," he says with a cruel smile on his lips. You gaze into the ice-cold eyes of Zakan Kima, ruler of Vasagonia, and see nothing but an inky void. As he raises his orb of black metal, you steel your nerves for the combat that is about to commence. If you possess the Summer Sword, we lost it. Oh, lo. A surge of scarlet energy leaps from the orb and rips into your arm, hurling you backward onto the ground. Lose 5 endurance points. So we're down to 37. The Zakan laughs mockingly as he raises the orb once more, this time to finish you off for good. You're aware of the Zakan's troops fighting a desperate battle at the west gate, and you know you must defeat him, or else the city will be lost. If you possess a psychic ring, we do. Power of the ring greatly amplifies your psychic energies as you attack the Zakan. Disrupt his control over the Orb of Death, and enable you to penetrate his shield with an ordinary weapon. Zakan Kima with Orb of Death. Combat skill 28. need to recalculate all this. So it will be a +2, -9, that's -7. +2, -5. Combat ratio fight. And he has 38 endurance point. We're at 37 plus 1, 38. Can quaff a potion of Lumspur. We'll see if it's needed. The Zakan wears plate armor. Due to the shock caused by the sudden loss of his magical armor, he is briefly susceptible to Mind Blast and Psy Surge. If you use a Bronin Warhammer, add 2 to your combat skill for the duration of this battle, as it is especially efficient against a heavily armored foe. So Psy Surge is fine. Hit -5. I think I'm going to quaff the potion of Lumspur here. So we're going to be able to fight him at our full strength and 42. And this seems to be the final battle of the night. Really don't know what's going to happen to the Summer Sword. I'm going to have to do some research at the end. Probably. Alright, with the -5 combat ratio, we need to roll 6 and higher to win. Any roll under 5 is a big risk. I think it's safe to roll 5 dice at once for this first battle. Oh damn! 10-5, 10-10-5. All the rage of losing the Summer Sword is coming here. Yeah, 10 is 9 damage and nothing on our side. 5 is 4-4, so that's 13-4. A 9-0 again, 22-4, and a 9-0 again, 31-4. And a 4-4, that's 35-8. The Zakan is being dominated by a guy with the simple sword. Last roll of the night. Most probably. Oh, 3, it sucks. That's not enough to kill the Zakan, but I don't see how he can survive. Down to 1 HP. While Lone Wolf down to 29. And let's read the last roll of the night. 7, he's dead. And we lost 3 endurance points. At the very moment of his death, the shimmering web of energy that encases the Zakan's body flares up with a scarlet brilliance, so intense that you are forced to avert your eyes for fear of it blinding you. The light surges and then fades, leaving behind a mound of glowing fragments that crumble and dissolve noisily until all that remains of the Zakan and the orb of death is a dark stain on the earth where they fell. Spurred on by your triumph, the Anarian defenders rally themselves and counterattack to secure the west gate. The Vesagonians who gain entry are either killed or forced back into the moat as the gate is quickly retaken. A cheer resounds from the city wall. A cheer that becomes a chant, carrying word of Kima's demise to the enemy beyond the moat. Gradually, the advancing legions slow to a halt as their hope of an easy victory dies. Officers ride to and fro, cursing and threatening their men with all manner of punishments, but their morale is severely shaken. The ranks of armored warriors merely stand in shocked silence and refuse to advance. The sounds of distant trumpets is heard, and all eyes turn to the south to see wave upon wave of mounted warriors emerging from the hills around Varta. They pour forth from every valley and pass to fill the southern flats, with regiments of cavalry resplendent in uniforms of blue, white, and grey. "Our prayers have been answered," says Chiban, as he and Banadon rejoin you at the city wall. "Behold, the allies of Fanari have come to aid us in our darkest hour." Points to the advancing cavalry, and you recognize, fluttering from their lances, the battle standards of three nations: Firaland, Lorden, and Kakush. Then the thunder of their horses' hooves fills the air, and a wave of joy surges through you as you witness their first charge devastate the enemy's ranks, throwing them into chaos and confusion. A great battle ensues. The enemy slowly gather themselves to resist this unexpected assault. Yet by noon, two of their armies have been smashed and routed, and the third fights a desperate rearguard action as it struggles to cover the chaotic retreat westward. At last the fighting around the city comes to an end, and the defenders give voice to their elation that their home has been saved from the hordes of Dark Lord Nahag. Senator Zelaris proclaims you the savior of Tau, and the victorious cheers of the citizens echo through the burning streets and across the flats that lie strewn with enemy dead. If any of your weapons or weapon-like special items were confiscated by the Southgate Guard, they are now gratefully returned to you. Erase the X marks from your action chart to restore them. If you recover the Dagger of Vashna, you must reduce your endurance by 3 points again. Also, you may wish to note that you have visited the city of Tau. Oh, perchance the summer sword isn't lost. Alright, we have way too much stuff right now though. I could have re-rolled the Senate decision. Didn't think about that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18 items, 19 items. And we never gave back the ring to the Thief Guildmaster. So many things. But to throw out. Station, the Iron Key, those can go away. We're down to 17. I need to clear 5 items. That's crazy. Oh, I'm at 15. So I need only to clear 3 items. Well, I have 1 free slot. For certain, I'm going to throw away the shield and the... Damn it. I need the Crystal Star Pendant, the Chainmail Waistcoat, the Summer Sword, the Fire Sphere. I want to keep the Dagger of Ashna. I need a large quiver. Helmet or shield. But if I keep the shield, I'm throwing away the Bronze Sleeve Shield. I guess I'm throwing away the shield just to keep the Bronze Sleeve Shield. Padded leather waistcoat, don't really care, and we're down to the Canteen of Water versus the Psychic Ring. I guess it's goodbye Canteen of Water. We have 12 items. And the number 6 was never used. Can refill our arrows back to 12. Throw away the rest. Got our old axe, our old bow. Throw away the new ones. We need to know that we visited the Danarg. Not the Danarg, but Teu. Getting late, getting late. And I guess that's pretty much it. I need to adjust all the scores for next time. Actually, they're the same as at the beginning. So we're going down to 36 out of 38 after the fight. And that's pretty much it. Not 36, wrong one, 26. Yep. You gaze upon the grim panorama and your blood runs cold. It is not the sight of the carnage that grips you with fright. Rather, it is your growing awareness of a powerful evil that is taking shape above the west gate. A billowing black cloud forms in the sky, and from out of this cloud there comes a harsh and terrible voice. I will be avenged. It booms, its resonance shaking the battlements on which you stand. You steel yourself, half expecting a bolt of lightning to leap from the cloud and hurtle toward you, but no such attack materializes. Instead, the chilling voice continues, albeit in a mocking tone. Know this. You will pay for your defiance with your life. I, Yag of Mosgoar, have the 3 remaining lore stones that you seek, and I shall destroy them when I destroy you, Kai Whelp. A gust of wind catches the cloud and it clears swiftly, but it leaves behind a numbing dread that fills your heart, for you sense that the words were no idle threats. The terrible voice of Dark Lord Nahag spoke the truth. Your quest Your quest has succeeded. For the wisdom and strength of the Lord Stone of Tau is now an integral part of your body and spirit, and your defeat of Zaken Kima has turned the tide of war decisively against the armies of Dark Lord Nahag. However, the shocking news that Nahag now possesses the remaining Lore Stones of Nixator heralds the start of a new and deadly episode of your Magnakai quest. If you have the courage of a true Kai Master, the challenge of recovering the last Lore Stones from the clutches of your mortal enemy awaits you, beginning in Book 10 of the Lone Wolf series, entitled The Dungeons of Torgar. Next week, same time, same channel.